Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I will be ranking all the roller coasters at Six Flags Great America. I've been to Six Flags Great America twice, once in 2024 and once in 2025. And both of my visits there, my rankings for the park, for the coasters in the park have definitely changed. But now I think I have a good idea for how I would rank the coasters in the park. If I do go back to Great America this year and my rankings do change, I'll probably make another video on this, but I'm most likely not going back to Six Flags Great America this year. So I think I have a good feel for what my rankings are for the coasters in the park, so let's get right into the video. At number 14 is Sprocket Rockets. This is your typical Vekoma Junior coaster. Doesn't really do much, just meant to appeal for family and children. That's all I'll say about it. At number 13, we have Little Dipper. This is a classic family wooden coaster. Well, more of a kiddie wooden coaster, honestly. It really doesn't do much. It's also just meant to appeal for family and children, as I said about Sprocket Rocket. So there's really not much to say about this ride other than that. At number 12 is X-Flight. This ride is awful. This is the worst B&M I've ridden. The vest restraints are super restrictive and tight. They basically suffocate you the entire ride. The ride has a very, very noticeable vibration and rattle, which makes it honestly feel rough, and the pacing on it is horrendous. It runs so slow through its layout, and the ride has no force. It's just boring. It's rough. The vests suck. It is just not a good coaster. By far my least favorite B&M I've ridden so far. And I don't think that's really going to change anytime soon, because I don't think there's really any other B&M out there that could be as bad as X-Flight. Thing about it is X-Flight has a solid layout. It just has no force to it, and it runs so slow through it that it's not a good ride. It's just bad. At number 11 is the Dark Knight coaster. I've ridden both US Dark Knight coasters, and this one is easily the best. This one actually feels a lot faster than a Great Adventure one for some reason, and it honestly feels a little bit more aggressive, and there's a random airtime pop on it that actually is pretty good. This is a fun indoor Wild Mouse coaster, not the best Wild Mouse, but it's a good Wild Mouse coaster. At number 11 is Whizzer. This is a classic Schwarzkopf coaster and the only spiral lift till remaining Schwarzkopf in the US. And while this ride may be a classic, it really just ain't all that. It really doesn't do much. It kind of just meanders around. For some reason, it actually feels like you're going a lot faster on the drops than it looks. But still, it just pulls no force, this ride. It really doesn't do anything. It just feels like a monorail, basically. That's all it feels like. It feels like a scenic monorail through the woods. That's all I can really say about Whizzer. It's really nothing special. I get why it's an ace landmark, but overall, it's just not that thrilling of a coaster, and really just not something I would prioritize riding when I go to Great America. Number 10 is American Eagle. I only did the red side on this because the blue side was closed, and all I can really say about this ride is it really doesn't do anything. There's really no airtime. This helix right here is pretty goofy, though. I mean, it just bounces you up and down randomly because it's so rough. Which people say roughness is the worst part about this ride. I honestly didn't find American Eagle's roughness to be that bad. I just found the ride to be boring because it really didn't do anything. It felt pretty slow at some points during the ride. There really wasn't any airtime. It kind of just felt like a wooden monorail. So yeah, American Eagle just really didn't do much for me. Number 9 is the Joker. This is just your typical SNS 40 free spin coaster, and it's a pretty fun ride. It's nothing standout at all. It's kind of a filler coaster. It's a fun ride. You get some good flips on this one. The Great Adventure one is still the best out of the Joker free spins in my opinion, but this one is the second best, and overall a decent coaster, but nothing special. Number 8 is Superman Ultimate Flight. Basically, I've talked about this ride in the past. The pretzel loop is great, but after that, the ride really doesn't do anything else. The zero-G roll at the end of the ride, or the barrel roll, I mean, it's fun also. And the drop in the back row is also fun, but really, these rides just don't do that much. I do actually prefer this one to the Great Adventure one, mainly because it feels like you're going to crash into the ground more or hit the trees. But overall, yeah, just your typical Superman clone. The pretzel loop's great, but other than that, it really doesn't do all too much. But it's a solid ride overall. Number 7 is Viper. When I first rode this in 2024, I had this not even top 10 in the park, basically. It did absolutely nothing. Like, no force, no airtime, no nothing. And it just was so boring. But then when I rewrote it in 2025, I liked it a lot more. I got some pretty good airtime pops, actually. There were some pretty good moments of laterals, actually, that did not hit at all in 2024. So Viper in 2025 definitely redeemed itself. It's still not like a great wooden coaster. It's a fun ride, but it's nothing standout at all. I still think it's overrated by many people who do say this is a standout wooden coaster because it is nowhere near one at all. But overall, Viper, it's a fun wooden coaster, but really nothing special. Number 6 is Wrath of Rakshasa. Now, after riding Iron Menace in 2024, I did not have very high hopes for Wrath of Rakshasa. I thought it was going to be very similar to Iron Menace in a way where it was just like really rattly and rough and just not a good ride. But this ride actually surprised me. The inversions are really fun. There's some snappy moments. You get some a good pop of airtime on the drop. This inversion right here is actually very good. The 2 inversions towards the end of the ride, you go through them at a very good pace, so they're pretty snappy. Overall, this ride actually did surprise me, and I really enjoyed it. So Wrath of Rakshasa is actually a very fun coaster. Not to mention, it's very smooth and has a pretty good layout as well. Number 5 is the Demon. This is a very good classic era looping coaster. The drop in the back row, you get some great ejector airtime. The first 2 vertical loops are very forceful. The corkscrews give some good hang time. The rest of the ride doesn't do anything really that stand out, but those 2 vertical loops are very forceful, and the drop is great. And as I said, the corkscrew do deliver some good hang time. There is a helix towards the end of the ride. It just really doesn't do much, that helix. But overall, Demon is a fun aero looping coaster. I don't really understand why people hate on it. I found Demon actually be quite smooth for an aero looper. But overall, I think Demon is a pretty fun ride, and definitely does not deserve the hate it gets. I very much enjoy Demon. Number 4, this is a hot take, is Goliath. So in 2024, this was my favorite in the park, but last year, I don't know what happened, but it fell off a lot. The moments on the ride just did not hit as hard. Yes, that camelback is great, and so is the 0G stall, but like all the other moments just did not hit hard. Like the drop is still very good towards the back, but the airtime was not as aggressive as it was in 2024 on that drop. The camelback gives sustained ejector airtime still. You get some good snap on the inversions, but the ride just feels so short, and it feels so lackluster, honestly, in a way where it's just missing a bunch of elements. And especially that the moments didn't hit as hard last year, that it definitely fell off for me. But Goliath overall, it's still a good ride. I very much do enjoy Goliath still, but it's definitely not the best coaster in the park. It's not top 3 in the park, even, as you see. But overall, while I do still very much enjoy Goliath, it is by far the worst RMC I've ridden. I just wish it did more with its layout, but I'll give it credit that it does have some good moments throughout the ride still. Number 3 is Batman the Ride. This is an awesome B&M inverted coaster. If you do not know by now, I love Batman the Ride clones, and I also do love inverted coasters, and Batman the Ride is no exception. However, this is the weakest one I have done, which many people would find to be a hot take because people say this is like one of the better ones. I don't know, I just didn't find this one to be that forceful. The reason I do really like it, though, is because the pacing on it is still great, and it is very snappy through all of its elements. But it's definitely lacking in the forces wise, but the whip, snap, and the pacing does make up for it. And this overall still is a very good ride that I really do enjoy, and top 3 at Six Flags Great America. Not to mention, it's the original Batman clone, and it definitely should be a must ride when you go to Great America. Number 2 is Max Force. This is a very good launch coaster that I feel like does get trashed on a bit too much. That launch is super powerful. While it is not the best launch in my opinion, I do think the launch does hit pretty hard as it feels so abrupt. This 0G roll that you just saw right here, that has very good snap, and so does the final element, like going into it where you go upwards and just snap right into it. That also gives some really good snap, not to mention the ride runs at a very good pace through its layout. You definitely feel that speed if you're sitting towards the front row. The back row, I feel like, is actually better for the. I mean, I actually feel like the back row is better for the launch, which is kind of funny. But the front row is better for the inversions, which is definitely different because you would think the front is better for the launch and the back is better for the inversions. But this ride, for some reason, flips it sideways in that way. But overall, nonetheless, Max Force is a great launch coaster, easily the second best coaster at Six Flags Great America. And with it being the only air-powered launch coaster currently in North America, it should be a must-ride for you when you go to Six Flags Great America. And finally, number 1 is Raging Bull. This ride is insane. It is the best B&M hypercoaster I have ridden. The drop and the drop off the midcourse in the back row provides some amazing ejector airtime, the strongest airtime you'll get on a B&M. The Camelback also provides some great flow ejector airtime. This ride blew me away last year because in 2024, I found it to be a decent but very lower mid-tier B&M Hyper. 2025, it was just absolutely insane. The trims didn't even hit on it, and the drop off the midcourse just felt so much more abrupt, and basically just delivered such strong, sustained ejector time on the drop and drop off the midcourse, while the Camelback gave sustained flow ejector airtime. I was shocked how this went from being a mid-tier B&M Hyper to me to becoming my favorite B&M Hyper. This is overall just a fantastic B&M. A must-ride when you go to Six Flags Great America, and definitely one of the most underrated B&M coasters I've ridden, if not one of the most underrated coasters I've ridden. So yeah, that is my rankings of all the roller coasters at Six Flags Great America. Make sure to like this video, also subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.